Good afternoon, 49er faithful. Welcome to a special episode live from the hotel room at Mandalay Bay in Las Vegas in answer to the questions already in the chat. Stivers 209 football. Are you in Vegas for the NFL draft? Yes, I am. I am here, ready, about to go out to the site. Got to keep this one short so that I can get out there. If there's anything that feels like a live stream from the draft would be a cool experience, I'm going to try to make that happen. I'm here with my good friend Dustin Kohler, who has volunteered to be a cameraman if need be. Got myself covered up with the cap because it is going to be sunny out there, and this fair skin does not fare well in sun like Vegas does sun. Pretty excited for it. Give me a test in the chat on how the audio is sounding right now. Obviously got the road setup going. Want to make sure that I'm coming through loud and clear and that the signal is good. It doesn't look like anybody has put anything in there saying anything to the contrary. So I'm going to think that I'm doing all right. Jerry Binkley coming in, sneakerhead here on the channel. Rob, love the content. First off, Deebo isn't getting traded. You can take that to the bank. This will be resolved over the summer. Remember, money heals all wounds. Money most definitely can heal all wounds. I'm about to do my ideal mock draft. And when I say ideal, I mean I tried to land as many players as I covet within this draft, which I actually think is not a terrible strategy if you're able to bounce around a draft and grab the 7 or 8 players that you love. If you walk away with players that you're stoked on, even if you had to give up a little bit to maneuver around the draft, I think that's a reasonable strategy. I get those that are always best player available, but sometimes you have to fill needs as well. So we're going to get into that in just a moment. But for that, the reason I bring it up with this comment on the screen is I did assume a Deebo trade. So that will be in there. Charles Thurman saying, Rob, hope you're having a blast. I am enjoying myself. Absolutely having a good time in Vegas. Stayed out too late playing cards last night, as is always the temptation. I love Texas Hold'em and, may not have gotten as much sleep as I probably should have. But that's what you got to do when you're in Vegas. You got to enjoy yourself. Sean951 is here in the chat as well. Send Deebo to the Jets for 2 first-round picks. Let's go. That's not what I assumed in this trade, but we'll get to that in just a moment. E. Kim coming in to say hello. Raphael5629ers coming in to say what's up to me and everybody as well. There's some excitement. Hundo coming in. Jimmy could be traded tonight. I feel like if there's going to be a trade, it may not be Jimmy, but hey, nothing wrong with a little bit of hope there, right? We'll get into this mock draft in just a moment. Just want to celebrate the folks there in the chat having a good time. Freddie Mac Dre coming in, just finishing 2 bottles of wine, rosé and Chardonnay. Time for more good news today. Let's go Niners. Freddie Mac Dre is going to be feeling it for the first round of the draft. Eric Sully coming in. Rob. Dr. Jazz Spree at Rob Schuh. What if the Niners trade Jimmy instead of Deebo and then use the money to sign Deebo? That would be a phenomenal first day of the draft. All right. Looks like the audio is good. So let's go ahead and get into this. Mark Andrade, I want to address this one. If we don't get 10, 35, and more, we need the Jets to overpay. I can't believe we're about to make the same DeForest Buckner mistake. And you sound great, Schuh. Appreciate that. And yeah, I actually assumed less than that in this trade. But in assuming less than that, I'll get into what I assumed in just a moment. What I wanted to illustrate in taking less than that deal is that the value for what we could get in just the higher end picks can turn into a lot more in this draft. So we will get into what that trade was in just a moment. Edward Brito coming in. Hey, Rob, got to know when to hold them or fold them. Hopefully Lynch got his poker face today. Yes. James Dobson saying the Schuh show should be nationally televised. You hear that, ESPN, NFL Network? You need to pick this up. Starco fan 212 with the question at Rob Schuh. Who do you think will be the first player drafted? We will get into that in just a moment. Do you mean first overall or who the Niners will take? Emiliano. Rob is going to be in bad to the mob by the end of the weekend. Rob can only do Las Vegas one way. You got to play cards. Sometimes you lose money. Sometimes you got to get a thumb broken in the process. That's just the way that it works. Mario coming in to say hello. Hey, Rob, have a good time. Greetings from Austria. Greetings, Mario. All right, no more ado. everyone has been said hello to. We've gotten into this thing. The energy is good. I wanted to let a few people get here before getting into this mock draft. It's going to be my ideal. And what I mean by ideal, again, is I targeted specific players going into this. I had guys that I had my heart set on primarily in the second, third, and fourth rounds. I think that's the meat of this draft. I don't actually care about selecting anyone early on in the first round. I would rather get a pick tail end of the first round to get one player where you have that fifth-year option, get that contractual control, but also be at the end of the first round to where the value on that contract is very low, right? The value for the Niners is high, the value for the player is low. And then getting the majority of those picks in 2, 3, and 4. And I believe in only selecting 7, maybe 8 players. In this particular example, I'll let you know when I get to the end of it, one adjustment that I might make. I will tell you in just a moment what I traded Deebo for. Let me get some of these banners up here. So here are the needs as I saw it going in. Top priority for the San Francisco 49ers. I list out 8 separate needs. Wide receiver, safety, edge, cornerback, tight end number 2, that elusive second tight end that the 49ers have been searching for a long time, a running back, ideally one that has pass catching ability. I'd like to bump JaMycal Hasty back onto the practice squad. Nothing against JaMycal Hasty. I just believe within our running back room, that's the weak link. And then speed wide receiver, coming back into double dip on wide receiver, because honestly, if we are letting go of Deebo Samuel, you're going to need multiple players to fricking combat that. That's also why I want the pass catching running back, and then center as well. That's in no particular order. I don't value center below all of those. Obviously, depending on the news with Alex Mack, that one could jump quite a bit. But as Melvin says here, 10 and 38 is what he wants, not 10 or 38. I hate to break it to you, but my assumption going into this, I kept it low. So what did I trade Deebo to the Jets for? Just number 10. That's how we started off this mock draft. I agree that it's possible we get more, but when we look at the actual value of the Tyreek Hill trade or the Devontae Adams trade, the 10 pick alone would be more valuable than what those teams got for those key players. And I think it is fair to say that those players have a more robust resume than Deebo Samuel, even if you're saying to yourself, well, those players had some leverage to force their way out of their respective situations, and Deebo is under team contract for 1 more year and 2 years of the franchise tag if they want to go that way. But I took the low end because, again, the value seemed right, and I wanted to prove that the 10 has value. So I took the 10 and I turned it into significantly more. I agree that people are saying Corey Soto, Rob, that is way too low. But what I want you to do here, Corey, stay with me, is when you look at the results of this draft, you can say to yourself, damn, if we only get the 10, we could pull this off. We could get this roster of talent if we only traded Deebo for the 10. Add on the 38, add on 38 and 69, you're just adding on even more talent that you can get into this ideal draft. Again, I wanted to be reasonable with it. That is the purpose of this exercise. Freddie McDre, I agree. Niner fans are all going to be saying 10 is not enough for Deebo's potential. But that is what I did. And James Dobson, exactly. I took the 10 and I flipped it. So that is the very first thing that I did. I traded with the Chiefs, James, because I wanted to get into the end of the first round. So what did that trade end up being? Boom. San Francisco receives 29, 30, 50, and 103. Kansas City gets 10 and 61. This allowed me, again, more within the meat of the draft as I see it. This is where I wanted to be. I wanted to be one in the end of round 1, and then the vast majority of my picks in rounds 2, 3, and 4. And that's where I ended up selecting. When we get to the end of this exercise, you'll see how I got all those picks. I traded back, and then there'll be some trades. I was Trader Trent in this thing. I went a little bit crazy and enjoyed myself in the process. So pulled off this trade. That meant that the first selection we were making was going to be at pick 30. And with that, I was able to take Sky Moore, the wide receiver out of Western Michigan. I love this guy. I believe that it fills a need. I think he is very capable of those yards after the catch. This to me is a good value for the wide receiver. I'm a little skeptical on some of the value at 10. I know people are very confident in that spot, and some believe that if the Niners hit 10, they will pick at 10, and they will pick potentially wide receiver at 10. I like the value end of the first, getting Sky Moore here. And then I wasn't done with the trade. So, yes, I've dipped into the wide receiver pool. I feel like I have gotten a good talent there, but I wanted to swap things around a little bit and condense those picks even further. So, what did I do there? I traded away that 29th pick. Sorry, this trade should have happened before that. Let me get back in time, because this is pick 30. So 29, I traded away. I had my banners reversed there. So traded, San Francisco receives 33 and 70. Jacksonville got 29, 105, 187, and 220. So I'm condensing picks there, right? Turning 4 from San Francisco into 2 higher quality picks. Well, 1 trade back and 1 significant trade up. Again, getting me into the second round of that draft. So sorry for the confusion there. After trading this away, I then selected Sky Moore at pick 30. I looked at when I was sitting there at 29, I looked at players available, and I had multiple players I was comfortable with. And so therefore it felt okay to send away pick number 29 and still make the pick at 30. I want to make sure I'm staying current in the chat here, just in case there are comments that I want to bring in here. If you've got something specific in response to one of the selections or one of the trades, do me a favor and hit me with the @Rob before your comment or your question. Bullpup 33 coming in just to compliment the cap. I do love it. The white is so clean, and it's going to be freaking hot out there in the sun. And I already am dealing with the one skin cancer issue. I don't need any more. So I am covering up the dome when I am out there in the sun. That is the plan. All right. So I jumped the gun a little bit, right? So I made this second trade, and now I've condensed my picks, but then I selected Sky Moore at number 30. We already got to that. That meant that my next pick was going to be at 33. I've already targeted a wide receiver. I came back for that vaunted safety position and grabbed a guy that I have had my eyes on since I was at the combine, and that is Jalen frickin' Petrie. I will be so excited if the 49ers find a way to acquire Jalen Petrie. I'll be less excited if it takes a Deebo trade in order to do it. The ideal scenario would be we don't trade Deebo. 61's our highest pick. We move up a few slots because somehow Jalen Petrie falls. In this one, I wasn't willing to risk it. So I grabbed Jalen Petrie, the safety out of Baylor, who is also capable of playing in the nickel. A ball hawk, a guy that is very fluid in his movements. I was just very impressed with the way in which he moved within the drills at the combine. That's the pick at 33. Now we've gone wide receiver and free safety slash nickel there. Now we pick next at pick 50. Here's where I decided to address the edge rusher for the San Francisco 49ers. Yes, I want to go back into the chat, just making sure I don't miss anything. So a question from Dr. Jasperi. Wait, so what did you do with the number 10 pick? I traded it back. The number 10 pick got traded. The 10 and 61 were traded for 29, 30, 50, and 103. And then I further traded 33 and 70 traded 29, 105, 187, and 220 for 33 and 70. So again, I'm moving all around, condensing those picks, end of the first, mainly second, third, and fourth. That is where we wanted to be. All right, wanted to make sure I address questions as they come in. So now we're picking at 50. Here, I decided to select Drake Jackson, the edge rusher out of USC. Now, I know that some people believe he's limited. I think this is going to be a pass rush specialist. When you're picking towards the end of the second round, you're not going to get an ideal edge rusher. I like the skill set Drake Jackson brings to the table. I know he doesn't have very many moves, but you put him with Chris Kosaric, and things are going to change. He is going to tap into that previously untapped potential. Mario Lackner coming in to complement the Jalen Petrie pick. I love the Jalen Petrie pick. Hold on. I need some water. Got to get some water. Yeah, the Jalen Petrie pick is a huge one for me. I want to see if anybody is liking the edge rush pick, or if I get some criticism for my edge selection. No real opinions on that one just yet. Those will come trickling in. But yes, Drake Jackson solidifies the edge. So now I've gone safety, I've gone wide receiver, and I've gone edge. I decided it was time for another freaking trade at that point. Ooh, that trade comes in later. The trades got a little bit off there. We got Drake Jackson coming in. Okay, no, this trade is right here. So what I did, trade away San Francisco receiving 83 and 103 from Philadelphia. The Eagles receiving our 70 pick and 221. So I'm taking 70 and then one of those 6-rounders that I really don't think is going to make our roster anyway, package them together to sandwich those picks, right? Didn't want to be at 70. I already got the talent that I wanted in the second round, wanted to trade back a little bit, get into the third. And I think it worked out well because next at 83, I was able to select another draft crush in Cole Strange. Yes, the guard center coming out of Chattanooga. I think that this is our future center. If Alex Mack sticks around, you play him at right guard, he takes over the center position next year. If Alex Mack retires, as many people are predicting, now you have Cole Strange and his nasty playing style ready to step in right away at that center position. I'm going back into the comments to see how people like the draft so far. Sean951's at Rob Schuh. No 49ers mug for draft day? No, it doesn't travel. You can't risk breaking it. You cannot risk breaking it. Freddie Mac Dre hating the edge pick. I mean, Freddie Mac is into the second bottle of wine, maybe the third by this point, but he's still very passionate, not liking the edge pick. Dustin is watching from his room, wondering who wants to know where the Lions are picking and what they are taking. Dustin is very in on the picks for the Lions. AJB, I don't think John has the experience or balls to make these moves. Rob for GM. Jerry Binkley saying, come on, Rob, bet me. What are we betting? Jerry, let me go back in time. What is Jerry attempting to bet me here? Jerry, where are you? I see another one. Come on, Rob, bet me. LOL. You have to. Okay, here we go. I bet a t-shirt or coffee mug Deebo doesn't get traded. If I lose, I will pay $20. Ooh, that's a tough one. I see this as a 50-50. I typically don't take 50-50 bets. I see it as about 51-49 that Deebo gets traded. My head says Deebo doesn't get traded. My gut says Deebo forces his way out. So I'm not confident one way or the other. Jerry, I got to pass on the bet, but I appreciate the enthusiasm. All right, let's see what people are thinking of these. Okay, Big Fran saying, Rob, the draft is pretty dope, man. Okay, so liking these picks so far. Freddie Mac saying he's a brawler. Loving Cole Strange. Absolutely. James Dobson. Yeah, Rob, we need to get an edge that complements Bosa. He doesn't need to do much, but 6 to 8 sacks. That's what I am thinking with Drake Jackson. I believe that is a fit for a pass rush specialist to get 5 or 6 sacks, 6 or 7 sacks. That is the goal for me. Okay, I'm loving the enthusiasm here in the chat. So again, let's review so far. A bunch of trades have happened. We started out adding the 10 at the beginning of this draft, but we have diversified that 10. That 10 is no longer, we didn't pick a 10. We freaking traded away for 2 first-round picks to the Chiefs. Then we traded again with the Jags. Then we traded again with Philly. So far, we have selected the wide receiver out of Western Michigan, Sky Moore, at the 30th pick. At the 33rd pick, we took Jalen Petrie. At the 50th pick, we took Drake Jackson, the edge out of USC. And at 83, we got Cole Strange out of Chattanooga. Absolutely loving this draft so far. Dr. Jaspreet coming in at Rob Schuh. Petrie would be awesome. Do you think our O-line is okay, right? Are we looking for depth or starters? I think that we can look for both. The Alex Mack situation is what determines that in my book. If Alex Mack comes back, you're looking at potentially a starter for right guard, but you're also looking for depth. If you can get depth, then certainly you're going to try and get that at tackle. I actually address that later. But let's get to this next pick. I see the excitement coming in. Again, hit me with at Rob or at Rob Schuh if the comment is directed at me, so I know you're talking to me and not with one another about the results of this phenomenal draft so far. All right, I am still in the third round because you know how many picks I managed to accrue in the third round? Not one, not two, not three, but 4 picks in the third round is what I was able to finagle out of this draft. Yes, that's right, ladies and gentlemen. And with the second pick in the third round at 93 overall, the 49ers' second pick in the third round under this scenario, I was able to grab Jelani Woods, the tight end, rising star coming out of Virginia. 6'7", 260 pounds, ran a 4.6 40, 24 bench reps at the combine, an athletic freak. Need to tap into that. He had a high drop rate. That's a concern. This is, a bit of a project individual, but with huge upside. And when you're taking someone near the, tail end of the third round, I believe that type of project with huge upside is a good one. Getting back into the comments to see what people think about this. All right, here we go. Eric Schultz with a question here at Rob Schuh. What do you think about trading down to 13 or 15 to get that center from Iowa and find a way to trade for Christian Watson in the second round? During the mock draft yesterday, we actually accomplished that. We traded back, got Linderbaum, and got Watson in the second round. That's not my preferred draft strategy. I actually prefer to go, like I did in this one, much further back. I would not go Linderbaum. I prefer Cole Strange as I've gotten in this one. I think there is so much more value right there. Value coming in getting Cole Strange. I got at 83. I think that 80 to 85 range is absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. Here we go. Freddie Mac Dre at Rob. Mac is gone. We need Strange and Fortner. Well, we got Strange in this one. We're not getting Fortner, but let's see what we did end up getting. Back to the draft here. Now we're on to pick 101 in round 3. So what did I do? I tackled that speed wide receiver that I wanted to see that I talked about early on, nabbing Danny Gray, the wide receiver out of SMU. To me, this is a great pick, pairing him along with Sky Moore. This is going to be a much healthier wide receiver room if unfortunately we lose Deebo Samuel. So now we have tagged that speed wide receiver. We checked off the primary wide receiver. What else did we want to get to? Oh, yeah, we wanted to hit the running back. So I come back in with Pierre Strong Jr. at pick 103, still in the third round here, coming out of South Dakota State. I believe that this allows JaMycal Hasty to get bumped off of that roster, build out the strength of our running back room. And again, the way in which this is coming together is an elite draft as I look at it. James Dobson liking the Woods pick, Jelani Woods at Rob. Woods would be a great addition. Short screens over the middle. Absolutely love it. Jerry Binkley, Rob, please tell me how to buy a coffee mug. Put in, if you haven't, on our last program, we advertised there's a contest going on right now for Mr. Irrelevant, pick 262. You get 1 vote and 1 submission. Put it into 49ersmailbag@gmail.com. What is your guess for Mr. Irrelevant? You get your choice. If you win, the first person that gets the correct answer gets their choice of either a Cheers mug or barbecue sauce. I'm going to allow 2 winners. So whoever is first gets to choose barbecue sauce, DJ Jones barbecue sauce, Cheers mug. They're of about equal monetary value. And then the second place person will get the other choice that the first one didn't choose. So Jerry, submit that 49ers mailbag at gmail.com. 1 submission. So make it a good guess for Mr. Irrelevant. Pick 262. All right. Niner Empire 541. Rob, white hat, clean. Thank you. It is going to be nice out there in the sunshine. All right. 49ers amateur draft scout coming in. This is a nice mock, Rob. I'm going to head out. Hope to run into you and the rest of the fellows later. I hope so as well. Jamie Bryant at Rob Schuh. I hope we draft one of these dudes. Linderbaum, Burks, Cooks, Strong, Williams, Malone. I got Strong in this one. Freddie Mac Dre wants Cook instead. That's reasonable. That's a reasonable choice. What's up, says Sky Moore and Danny Gray with Brandon Ayuk. Game over. I'm telling you, legit options for Trey Lance. Isaac coming in. Has there been any new speculation about the Deebo saga? Supposedly, it's going to come down to the wire. The NFL wants this drama, whether it's real or contrived, to go down to the wire. So apparently, the Jets and the Niners are fine waiting until the Jets are on the clock to actually decide. It's pretty wild. All right, let's get back into this draft. We have now completed the third round, but the vast majority of picks have been made. I only have 2 picks remaining because I traded yet again. I gave away 3 picks to receive 2 because I wanted the heart of the draft. So San Francisco in this trade, we are receiving picks 120 and 194. We are giving to the Saints 134, 172, and 262. So again, compartmentalizing, getting myself into the meat of the draft, moving up to pick 120, and then I have 1 pick remaining at 194. So that's it. We've got 120 and 194. At 120, it felt like good value to grab either a tackle to fill in while McGlinchey is out, or that 6th offensive lineman, the swing tackle, Kellen Diesch, coming in, the tackle out of Arizona State. At this stage in the 4th round, felt like good value, good placement for a offensive line depth piece to bring in. And then closing this thing out at pick number 194. Now, if I'm really looking at this, if I'm really looking at 194, what I would have considered is actually trading this pick out and picking up a 6th or a 5th rounder in next year's draft, because I believe we only have 6 picks in next year's draft as it stands right now. We may get a couple of compensatory picks in the losses of Laken Tomlinson and DJ Jones, but the Charvarius Ward contract will cancel one of those out. So maybe we only get 1 real serious compensatory pick, and the factors in for the coaches leaving are already there. We may lose to Miko Ryan, so maybe we get a pick there. I would potentially trade our last pick, 194, to get one in 2023. But in this scenario, I did not. I selected Ty Chandler, another running back coming out of North Carolina. This was best player available on my board at this point. Again, just attempting to create an explosive dynamic for Trey Lance within the offense. A lot of weapons for him to choose from. So that is the freaking, let me add this so you can look at it. That is the draft. Let me tell you, I was very pleased with that. Again, had a bunch of the trades there. Let me try and get this all in the screen so that you can see it. All right, a bunch of trades. You can see trading the one for pick 10 for Deebo Samuel, and then the grades after that. They liked my trade with Kansas City. They liked my selection of Sky Moore. They were lukewarm on my trade with the Jags there. They loved the Jalen Petrie pick. They liked Drake Jackson, where I took him at 43. They liked Cole Strange, where I took him at 83. The pick with the Eagles was a fair grade there. Jelani Woods, maybe a little bit of a stretch, but I wasn't going to not select him at 93 and miss out on him at 101. So to me, I had to jump a little bit on Jelani because in a lot of these mocks, he's going early. The Danny Gray was another instance like this. All of these, you could potentially argue that they're 1 or 2 slots early. But this goes back to my point. If you're a scout, if I'm a scout and I have players I'm targeting, if I end up with those players, it doesn't really matter if I took them 4 or 5 slots too early. If they end up being the player that I anticipate they will be, then it really does not matter. Freddie McDre, liking the Ty Chandler, liking the Diesch picks. I like it. Okay, let's see. Freddie loves more speed. Niner by nature 88, pointing out Deebo that like button. Hit that thing. Jerry Binkley coming in. Rob, great job and even better content. That is why I am a shoe head. Hey, I appreciate it, Jerry. You are a proud sneakerhead member of the channel. Absolutely. Yes. Just pick 10 netted us all of this. So that's what I meant to illustrate with this, is just how much value is in pick 10, to be able to trade back from 10 and accrue everything that we did here, getting all of those picks in the 2nd, 3rd, and 4th round. A very good draft there. The one that I missed out on that is a real loss that James calls out, no legit cornerback. Yes, Marcus Jones is the one I miss out on here. But just think about this. If the 49ers are more likely to get more than the number 10 pick, you can start adding in those players. So this is an illustration of what you can do if you only receive the 10 pick from the Jets. Again, nightmare scenario because you're sending out Deebo Samuel in that scenario, and I would much rather that Deebo stay with the San Francisco 49ers. But I agree wholeheartedly with Freddie Mac Dre that this was an excellent freaking draft. Excellent draft. King's Ransom does not like the Pierre Strong. Does not like it. Oh, no, they don't like it. Yeah, PFF doesn't like it. That one is wild to me. It's because I took him too early. It is definitely because I took him too early. Emmanuel coming in at Rob. Hi, Rob. Hope you enjoy the draft tonight. I won't be able to. I'll go to bed soon. Otherwise, tomorrow I'll be asleep on the desk at the office. Yes, rest up. I will be here experiencing it all. Very excited. Very excited. Big Fran Productions. Loving those picks. Love it. Yeah, Dr. Robert Anthony Jr. I don't get it either. Strong at 4. Strong. I'm taking in the 4th round, or did I take him in the 3rd? 103. 103. That gets an F. I don't get it. Corey Soto, I agree with this. Respect, Rob, but I highly doubt the Niners accept just 10. I agree with that, but I wanted to start with the least amount of draft capital possible to illustrate what was possible with it, to illustrate just how much I could get done with this. Again, Sky Moore, Jalen Petrie, Drake Jackson, Cole Strange, Jelani Wood, Danny Gray, Pierre Strong Jr., Kellen Diesch, Ty Chandler. You get an additional pick, that one of those early second rounders from the Jets. Now you're definitely adding Marcus Jones to this list if you are me. And you're potentially adding another pick to that, an ability to move around. I love it. Love it. Niner by nature. Yeah, you may get 10, 38, and 69, but imagine this draft adding 38 and 69. You would have so much there. Tom Jensen, Sneakerhead here on the channel. Love Moore and Petrie. Strange and Strong, solid. But then Woods and Gray, wide open, sure touchdown. Unlike Jimmy, Trey hits them, but they drop it. 2 backs? No. Only 1 back for Tom Jensen, and he would rather have some wide receivers and tight ends that can catch. It is a critical element. Raphael 562 Niners mock draft grade A. Love it. Yep. Coming in. I agree. Deebo stays with the 49ers until you're a free agent, then come to Miami. No, I don't like that. Marty MF Williams, Deebo about to start betting on preseason games to avoid another season with the Niners. Hey, chill. I'm telling you. Freddie Mac Dre saying it's a mock. Chill on the trade. Is that chill on me? I don't know who that's chill to. Sean 951 Niners say Rob Schuh draft a new owner. I'm telling you. EMA Beats. I agree with this. Again, the principle behind my idea of just 10 was to illustrate what you could do with 10. But EMA Beats correctly saying 10's not enough, does not represent the King's ransom phrase. I agree that it's most likely not going to be just 10. I think just 10, the Niners may pass on that. Real Deal Sports Talk. We'll be heading home from work to make it for at least some of the draft tonight. Have fun in Vegas, Rob. I will. If you have any final questions, throw them into the chat right now. Freddie was talking chill to the chat. Yes, if you have any final questions, throw them into the chat right now. Otherwise, this is the ideal mock. Again, we did a lot of trading. We only took in the 10 for Deebo. And so you can imagine a lot more if you get more than the 10 from the Jets. We made a bunch of trades, and then we got Sky Moore, Jalen Petrie, Drake Jackson, Cole Strange, Jelani Woods, Danny Gray, Pierre Strong Jr., Kellen Diesch, and Ty Chandler. Absolutely love that trade. Freddie Mac Dre. Do I think there's going to be a Jimmy G trade? I do not. I think that is going to drag out. HR coming in with the super chat. Lord, I know through you all things are possible, including that 6th Super Bowl. I humbly ask that you continue to remove obstacles so that our light may shine brighter than ever. I like the positivity to that, HR. I appreciate you taking the time to bring that on. I do indeed appreciate the positivity. Jerry Binkley, Rob, best Niners channel ever. I am a Niner since 1981. LOL. Deebo isn't going nowhere, period. I bet on that. Yeah, you were willing to put your money where your mouth is, and I really respect that. I really do. Tom Jensen saying, have a great time in Vegas, Rob. I am, and I will. Thank you for that, Tom. Really trying to enjoy myself here. Sean 951 Niners at Rob Schuh. Will you be in the actual draft, or is it on the water at Bellagio? I believe it's on the water at Bellagio, but I got to get down there. All right, it is about that time. I need to meet back up with Dustin Jerome coming in with the super chat. Are you going to meet up with Aponte and Jordan? Have a blast. I was texting with them last night. They're at a different end of the strip than I am. I guarantee that I will see them at some point to say what's up. Probably today. I don't know if I'll get any lives with them or anything like that. Whoops, brought that one in. Here we go. Corey Soto saying, well, apparently there's a sudden interest among the Texans for Jimmy after trade. Could happen sooner than anticipated. That would be phenomenal. What a surprise that would be to draft night to actually get Jimmy Garoppolo moved from the 49ers. That would be a pleasant surprise. If the 49ers move Jimmy and not Deebo during this draft, whoa, that would be a very pleasant surprise. That would change my tune quite a bit. That would change my freaking tune. Dan coming in just to say great job, and I appreciate the positivity. Ron, in answer to your question, who should the Niners draft with 10? I believe they should fall back with 10. Art the Collector, Rob, coming in late. Did you take Marcus Jones? He's the one draft crush I didn't get in this scenario. I could have kept going through it, trying to nail it, but it just didn't. So here's the repeat one last time for anyone joining late. Sky Moore, Jalen Petrie, Drake Jackson, Cole Strange, Jelani Woods, Danny Gray, Pierre Strong Jr., Kellen Deesh, and Ty Chandler. Ideally, I'd like to draft fewer players, and I would like to get Marcus Jones in there. So I called this ideally, but I had to have some limits. I didn't want to make it really, fake in that regard. Fable, JVC, nice clean lid, Rob. Have a great time. Appreciate it. 187 coming in to say thanks. Thank you, 187. Philip Allen coming in. Will you see Jake Asman? I don't know. I potentially may. I believe that I ran into Jake at the combine. Freddie Mac Dre, Rhino, ask for Chanel? I understand, Freddie. Freddie has had a couple of bottles of wine. Freddie is feeling himself. But I understand. I understand. Dr. Robert Anthony Jr. at Rob Schuh, can you get in the dome? I do not know. I do not know. I will attempt to. EMA Beats. Yo, Rob, have a wonderful time, champ. Take it all in. Wish I could be there. I wish everybody could be here. Wish everybody could be there. Sean951, I wish you were here, my friend. At Rob Schuh, represent well in Vegas for the faithful. Sorry I couldn't be there. Now that's it. That time I'm regretting. Now that it's that time, I'm regretting it. All good. Sean, it would have been cool to have you here, but I'm sure you'll take it in from home. You got to prioritize some things, and sometimes the draft isn't that priority. Jaguayo 56, Rob, have a great time. I appreciate it. I will absolutely have a great time. Paul Lehigh coming in. Life is full of ups and downs. Hope you have an amazing time in Vegas. Be safe and enjoy, sir. Dirk Pippin with the appearance. All right, that is it. If you're here, please do remember to hit the like button on the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Help me amplify my message, and I will be at the draft. If there is any opportunity for a live stream out there, I will try to make that happen. Chris Royal with the super chat. Always a great show. I always enjoy interacting with all of you. It is such a pleasure. I appreciate everyone being on here. I don't have the mug. I don't have the autofocus, but you got to finish every show in the same way. So I will be out at the draft. You guys are watching at home. I will be back on this week live from Vegas. Paul, doing the right thing. Hit that freaking like button on the way out. But until next time, cheers, 49er faithful.